Good evening. I'd like to welcome you to the December 5th Washougal City Council meeting and ask that you please rise and join us in the Pledge of Allegiance. Rose, could you call the roll, please?
Councilmember Coaston,
Here.
Councilmember Shoemaker,
Here.
Councilmember McDaniel,
Here.
Councilmember Delavar,
Present.
Councilmember Greenlee,
Here.
Councilmember Morris,
Here.
Councilmember Russell.
Here.
Thank you. I do have, I know, one amendment to the agenda. We will be adding an executive session to the end of this evening's meeting, likely to last upwards of 30 minutes in regard to labor negotiations. Are there any other amendments to the agenda? Okay, hearing none, do we have any correspondence? Okay. And we're at that point in the agenda for comments from the public. Anyone that would wish to address the council. We do have 4 public hearings scheduled for this evening in regards to the 2 school districts' capital facilities plans and impact fee updates. So any comments for those we'll certainly take during the public hearing. But are there any members of the public that would like to address council on any other items? Yes.
– Margaret Tweet from Camas.
Can we get your address, please, Margaret?
Yeah, 2715 Northwest 34th Circle.
Thank you.
I had a couple of questions on the CTRAN appointment. I read that it is being pushed through in order to be prepared for a retreat that they're having. And I just wondered what the status of that is, because I didn't see anything here.
Yep. It will be taken up this evening under reports of the appointment committee, which is on the agenda.
Okay, so I just guess I would like to urge you not to act in haste. I think typically you make the appointment at the beginning of the year for the following year. And so this would be atypical to suddenly, basically you're redoing the appointment. It might be for the 3rd time this year. And so I would urge you to, do it in the normal way, which would be at the beginning of the year, and then that appointment would last for the whole year. And then I also wanted to ask, when the CWEDA was being formed, it was reported by the staff, Mr. Rip indicated part of the reason for it was so that they wouldn't have to pay for office space, but I happened to notice that that in fact CWEDA does have a paid-for office space, and so that I don't know how that changed or when that changed. Just wanted to bring that to your attention. But I had read something in the contract that if the full budgeted amount wasn't spent, that each of the councils on the port could decide then just to pay a portion for this year. And since the contract didn't begin until mid-June, I wonder what you've decided. Are you going to be putting your full 50 in for this year, even though you just had a half a year of CWEDA? Or have you made a decision on that?
It has not come up.
Okay, well, there is a provision in the contract that the councils, each council and the port can decide whether to keep that full amount for the year. So that might, since you haven't got a full year's worth of CWEDA, seems kind of foolish to pay for a full year when you only got a half. Anyway, thank you for your time.
Thank you. Are there any other members of the public that would wish to address council? Michael?
Good evening. My name is Michael Rothschild, and I live at 736 Sunset Ridge Drive in Washougal. Thank you for allowing me to speak again tonight. When I spoke before when the meeting started 2 weeks ago tonight at the City Council meeting, I asked about the recount on City Council position number 2, And I was told, I believe it was today, maybe we'll find out tomorrow about the results of that. But one thing I forgot to mention is just a comment about that is, I think most of us have probably heard the old saying that people say, well, my vote doesn't count, why should I vote? Well, I checked just about 2 hours ago on the website, Clark County website, and there was only a separation of 8 votes still between the two. So all of our votes do count, especially on local elections when they're so close. And there have been a lot of other, elections throughout the country that have been similarly close. So I just, want to say again that our votes do count. It's very important that, people vote. That's a minimal thing that citizens could do, is vote. So I just wanted to put that word in. And thank you for your time.
Thank you, Michael. Anyone else from the audience that wishes to address council this evening? Okay, seeing no others, we'll move to the consent agenda. This evening, the consent agenda has 7 items. Council minutes from the November 21st City Council meeting, workshop minutes from the November 28th workshop meeting, regular accounts payable claims in the amount of $1,067,817.86. Agenda Bill 13811, a commute trip reduction interlocal agreement. Agenda Bill 13911, an award of bid to McDonald Excavating for the installation of a water line at South First Street near Wesley Ford. Agenda Bill 140-11, the 2012 training contract with Northwest Regional Training Center, and Agenda Bill 14111, an annual office building lease for the Children's Home Society of Washington to rent the Social Services Center facility.
Mr. Mayor, I request that items 4 and 7 be pulled to the new business.
Second.
Mr. Mayor, I ask unanimous consent that consent agenda items 1, 2, 3, 5, and 6 be approved by consent.
Hearing no objections, so ordered. Moving to Agenda Bill 13811, authorization for the mayor to sign the commute trip reduction interlocal agreement and work plan. Mr. Knipe.
Thank you, Your Honor. For the record, this is an amendment, or an authorization for your signature. The Commute Trip Reduction Act is, the City of Washougal is subject to this Commute Trip Reduction Act, and we have entered, or we have in the past entered into an interlocal agreement with the City of Vancouver, Clark County, and the City of Camas in order to have the City of Vancouver be the lead on the commute trip reduction portion for us. There's money allocated from the state. That money is pooled as a collective, and this interlocal agreement outlines the parameters and the work plan associated with that work. So the recommended action for you was for the council was to authorize the mayor to sign the commute trip reduction interlocal agreement and associated work plan through approval of the consent agenda.
Thank you.
Mr. Mayor, I move that we authorize the mayor to sign the commute trip reduction interlocal agreement and associated work plan.
Second. Got a motion and a second to authorize the mayor to sign the commute trip reduction interlocal agreement and associated work plan. Council discussion. Michael?
And Mr. Mayor, I do understand that this is a kind of a tricky vote for me because I'm very much against the commute trip reduction program that the state has put out. However, I understand that this is a mandate and that this agenda tonight is not necessarily fulfilling that mandate. It just makes it, or just sends the paperwork to Vancouver. My objection, only objection to this.
It actually would send the funding that the city of Washougal would receive to
Right.
Vancouver, not the paperwork.
Well, so if I understand correctly, wouldn't the man hours required for a lot of the updates would be generated in Vancouver along with that, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, yeah, and so a lot of the action is going to take place in Vancouver, and then they will send recommendations to us, if I understand correctly, right?
They prepare documents in compliance with the CTR law for our review and approval. But they do that preparation of that document.
Right, exactly. And I completely understand how it might actually be a wise idea to have a larger jurisdiction take care of that if they have more man-hours and a larger budget with pooling from other cities and whatnot. My biggest concern is one which I don't know if is going to be founded until we're months down the road with this agreement, and that would be loss of control over direction for our recommendations. I mean, whether we don't want to get into an arguing match with, them, Vancouver giving us, saying, this is the update, and this is how you comply, and this is what you need to do, and have us say, well, if we don't accept this, then we're telling Vancouver that they didn't do their work well versus just taking the responsibility on ourselves. Anyway, having said that, last week when we discussed this a little bit, I can understand which way the vote's very likely to go, so I'll just leave my argument at that, and I yield the floor.
Mitch, how many years has this agreement been in place?
I believe 6.
Have we had any arguments with any jurisdiction?
No, none that I'm aware of.
Other council comments? Rod?
Did the argument of leaving $100 a day fine, dropping it to 10, did that cause us any grief?
Not as far as the interlocal is concerned. That was, I think all those issues were done or issues raised at the time that we adopted that ordinance, but there was no blowback or anything related to this interlocal and administering of that.
And the one participant in the city of Washougal is Pendleton Willow Mills, and they're fully on board and accepting the program as it
Yes,
is?
they actually enjoy it and allow, and are happy to have it to offer to their employees.
Okay, thanks.
David?
Rod took care of my objection. Thank you.
Any other council questions, comments? Okay, I've got a motion and a second to authorize the mayor to sign the commute trip reduction interlocal agreement and associated work plan. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
No.
Motion carries. And Agenda Bill 14111, an annual office building lease for the Children's Home Society of Washington to rent the Social Services Center facility. Mr. Dunn.
Thank you, Your Honor, members of the council. The city annually enters into an office building lease agreement with Children's Home Society of Washington for the use of our Social Services Center located at 1702 C Street. This annual lease amounts to $1 in rental fees for the entire year. The city is responsible for heating and cooling this system, all electrical systems in the building, providing janitorial services, parking lot cleaning and maintenance, all landscaping, garbage and recycling collection, elevator maintenance and licensing, and routine maintenance and repair of the building. The city is responsible for all utility costs associated with electrical, gas, and water. The Children's Home Society of Washington is responsible for all costs associated with phones and the water filter system, maintenance and repair. The term of this lease is January 1st, 2012 through December 31st, 2012. Recommended actions are to authorize the mayor to sign the 2012 office building lease with the Children's Home Society.
Mr. Mayor, I move that we authorize the mayor to sign the 2012 office building lease with the Children's Home Society.
Second.
Got a motion and a second to authorize the mayor to sign the 2012 office building lease with Children's Home Society. Council discussion. Michael?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I'm glad that Mr. Mayor, I'm glad that the Children's Home Society has a good reputation and by all accounts has been doing a very good job. The only reason that I will be voting no tonight on this bill is that the city does not control which programs go into it, and yet we are subsidizing to some degree this service. And I think that it is, when it comes to charity and community services, I think that the people who give money to a charity should have direction and control over the content of the charities being given. And that's one of the reasons why if somebody's happy with one charity, they give money to it. And if they're happy with another charity, they give money to that. If they're unhappy all of a sudden with some of the policies put forward by a charity, they can stop giving money. But in this case, there is no discussion of that. I don't expect that to be controversial for most people, but that's my explanation for the reason why I'll be voting no.
Any other council discussion? David?
I share Councilman Delavar's concerns, and I have one additional concern. And that is that in times of budget stringency as such as we have now, and probably will have for the near future, for the foreseeable future, I think it's very important to focus on missions, supporting missions that are city missions. Social services is a county mission, and it's nice to support it at the city level, but it's not our mission. And so I will be joining Councilman Delavar to vote no on this, on the basis that this is not our mission, and we should be concentrating our resources on things that are the city's mission. Thank you.
Rod?
I disagree with you, Councilman Shoemaker. This is a city, it is our decisions up here to make this city desirable to live in. And with having those businesses next door is one of those things that we can contribute to make this an area and a town that everybody wants to live in and has all the right things to help their various families and the things that they need. The other thing I don't understand is I've donated money to a lot of different things, but I never felt I had to be on the decision-making board to whether it was to make it run right. So my vote will be to authorize the mayor to sign the office building lease.
Any other council discussion? Paul?
Just one thing, I don't know, Don, how much time you spent around 501c3s and that kind of thing, but it is my understanding as a trustee of a private foundation that if we donate money and then direct the management of a charity, it's no longer a tax-exempt donation.
I couldn't verify that, Council, sorry.
But
Not my
it,
area of expertise.
you know, United Way can't tell one of their organizations how to run themselves. Their entire control is to fund them or not. And if it's basically illegal under the IRS to get your hands involved in the management of a charity unless you are actually on the board of directors of that charity.
I take Councilman Morris's point to heart. Some time ago, I think last year or the year before, when this issue came up, I asked the question whether or not this was actually a gift of public funds as defined under the Washington State Constitution. It turns out there's a later section in the Constitution which says that you can make such gifts of public funds to take care of the poor. And that appears what we're doing here. I've got a real problem with making a gift of public funds under any circumstances. And I think that if we're using public monies taken from the taxpayers of Washougal, they ought to be used to the benefit of all the taxpayers of Washougal. And I understand that we gain some benefit from having them there. I acknowledge their contribution, but it's not sufficient for me to be able to support this. Thank you.
Michael?
Just as a point of clarification with regards to some earlier remarks, I'm not suggesting that the city should tell the Children's Home Society how to do their business or which programs to use. And I'm not suggesting that a private individual who gives money would do such a thing. What I'm saying is that if I give money to a charity and I don't like the mission of that charity, I'm very likely to stop giving money to that charity. That's the level at which I was referring to as far as directing which services are rendered. Anyway, I'm done.
Any other council discussion? Okay, I've got a motion and a second to authorize the mayor to sign the 2012 office building lease with the Children's Home Society. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
No.
Roll call.
Councilmember Coaston,
Aye.
Councilmember Shoemaker,
Nope.
Councilmember McDaniel.
Aye.
Councilmember Delavar.
No.
Councilmember Greenlee.
Aye.
Councilmember Morris.
Aye.
Councilmember Russell.
No.
Motion passes. Okay, moving from the consent agenda into our regular agenda for public hearings. First one up is Agenda Bill 142-11, Washougal School District 2011 to 2017 Capital Facilities Plan. Mr. Knipe.
Yep.
Molly, you want to get some lights?
Thank you, Your Honor. The agenda bill before you, 14211, is also Plan Amendment 1104-0004. It's for an update to the Washougal School District Capital Facility Plan, actually the adoption of that into the city's comprehensive plan. State Growth Management Act requires public entities to submit CFPs to the jurisdiction. The school board adopts their CFP after a public hearing, and the city must adopt the school's CFP into the city's comprehensive plan. For the particulars for the record, the school district issued a SEPA determination of non-significance on January 10th, 2011. The CFP and the SEPA were adopted by the school district after a public hearing on January 25th, 2011. There was a joint City Council and Planning Commission work session held on April 25th, 2011, and the Planning Commission held a separate work session on July 26th, 2011. Notice of the application was submitted by the city, routed by the city on August 5th, 2011, and the Planning Commission held a hearing on August 23rd, 2011. And finally, there was a work session, excuse me, not finally, there was a work session held on November 28th, 2011 with City Council, and notice of tonight's hearing was published on November 30th, 2011. At their hearing, the Planning Commission made a recommendation to City Council to approve the 2011-2017 Washougal School District Capital Facility Plan. The recommended action before you this evening is to hold a public hearing and take testimony. If council desires, make a motion to read the ordinance by title only and to pass, post, and publish in the usual manner.
Thank you, Mitch. With that, I will open the public hearing and ask if there are any members of the public who would wish to speak to the Washougal School District 2011-2017 Capital Facilities Plan. Yes, Mrs. Tarzian. Good evening.
My name is Dawn Tarzian, Superintendent of the Washougal School District, 3233 38th Court. I'm here tonight to testify to request that you support the Washougal Capital Facilities Plan that's before you tonight. I would like to share with you that this has been a carefully developed plan approved by the district's Board of Directors, who also serve in the important role of carefully weighing the impact of these fees on the community as a whole, while also bearing the responsibility of assuring that we have school facilities that are adequate for the community's future. It was thoughtfully developed, and Marnie Allen is here tonight again to answer any questions that you may have about it. The district has not been in the position of being a growing district for the last several years. Just with the opening of school this fall, I shared with you we had more students than was anticipated, 60 more than last year, 80 more than we had planned. It's a reminder that it's critical that we keep an eye on future growth and plan for that growth, balancing the responsibility very carefully with what we know and what the board knows is current financial strain on our community and on the developers. I want to thank you again tonight for your support of the community and your ongoing support of the school district, and ask for that support again tonight with your approval of this plan that's before you. Thank you.
Thank you, Dawn. Okay, second call for any members of the public wishing to address council on the Washougal Capital Facilities Plan. Third and final call for anyone wishing to speak to Agenda Bill 14211, an ordinance adoption for the Washougal School District 2011 to 2017 Capital Facilities Plan. Okay, seeing no additional comments, I'll close the public hearing and turn the matter back to council.
Mr. Mayor, I ask unanimous consent that we read the ordinance by title only.
Hearing no objection, so ordered.
An ordinance amending ordinance number 1651 and adopting an updated Washougal School District Capital Facilities Plan.
Mr. Mayor, I move that we pass, post, and publish the ordinance in the usual manner.
Second?
We've got a motion and a second to pass, post, and publish the ordinance in the usual manner. Any council discussion? Okay, seeing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. And that takes us to Agenda Bill 14311, a public hearing on an ordinance adoption of Washougal School District impact fee updates. Mitch?
Thank you, Your Honor. Again, Agenda Bill 14311, also Code Amendment 1104-0005 is an update for the Washougal School District School Impact Fee. Again, the State Growth Management Act requires public entities to submit a plan that shows how they will finance their capital facility plans. The school board adopts their recommended school impact fee after a public hearing, and the city must adopt the school's impact fee into the city's code under Chapter 15.45. Again, the particulars for the record, SEPA determination was issued on January 10th, 2011. The school impact fee and SEPA were adopted by the school district after a public hearing on January 25th, 2011. There was a joint City Council and Planning Commission work session held on April 25th, 2011. Planning Commission held a work session on July 26, 2011. And the notice of application was issued on August 5th, 2011. Planning Commission's hearing was held on August 23rd, 2011, and the City Council held a work session on November 28th, 2011. And finally, tonight's hearing was published on November 30th, 2011. The Planning Commission recommendation regarding the school impact fees was to approve the proposed single-family amount and forward a recommendation to keep the multifamily amount of $2,000. At our work session last week, Councilor Greenlee asked about a map showing the multifamily locations of property within the city. I just pulled this off of GIS. This colored area here, these are actual multifamily zoning designations within the city. And again, you can see 32nd. We have going up Woodburn Hill here, again, behind G Street, down on 7th, and in the Addy area. It's also important to note that, again, one of the apartment complexes that we do have is actually sitting out here in our commercial districts, because we do allow multifamily within our commercial districts as well. We also do allow multifamily within our town center as well. So, the existing Washougal School District impact fees are $4,000 for single family and $2,000 for multifamily. The school district's recommendations are $2,603 for single family and $2,689 for multifamily. Again, the Planning Commission made a recommendation that the school impact fee recommended by the school district be $2,683, the same. However, they made a recommendation that the multifamily rate remain what it is currently today at $2,000. The recommended action before council this evening is to hold a public hearing and take testimony, to make a motion specifying the amount of the impact fee to be collected for the Washougal School District, make a motion to read the ordinance by title only, amending 1545-040, and to pass, post, and publish in the usual manner.
Thank you, Mitch. With that, I will open the public hearing and ask for any members of the public who wish to speak to the Washougal School District impact fee update. Second call for anyone wishing to speak to the agenda bill. Yes, Barney?
Good Good evening, Mayor, members of the council. My name's Marnie Allen. I'm attorney for the school district, assisted with preparing the school impact fees. My mailing address is 2500 Northeast 65th Avenue in Vancouver. I just want to testify in support of the council adopting the school board's recommended impact fee amount with an increase in the multifamily amount. The reason for that increase is because those are the costs the district will incur to serve students that live in new multifamily housing, and that's a fee amount that the school board determined was necessary to fund the school facilities in their capital facility plan. So we appreciate your consideration of the school board recommendation.
Thank you. Is it appropriate to ask a question at this time?
Not during the
Okay.
public hearing, no. Thank you, Marty. Any other members of the public wishing to speak in regards to the impact fee updates for Washougal School District? Okay, hearing no additional, I will close the public hearing and turn the matter back to council.
Mr. Mayor, I move that we set the school impact fee for the Washougal School District at $2,683 for single family and $2,689 per unit for multifamily.
Second.
Second.
Mr. Mayor? Oh,
Just one,
no,
please.
sorry.
Okay, I've got a motion and a second to set the impact fees at $2,683 for single family and $2,689 for multifamily. Council discussion?
Mr. Mayor, excuse me, probably be appropriate, since this is an ordinance, to have the ordinance read by title only, and the ordinance does what was moved.
As a point of order, I think there's a motion on the floor to set the amounts, and until those amounts are set, the ordinance isn't final.
Well, it's not final until the. till
Well,
the
I mean,
ord-
the
till
text isn't final until those numbers are inserted.
How about if you stated those amounts and then asked us to read the ordinance by title only, incorporating those amounts? the
Perfect.
Appropriate amounts.
Is that not what we're doing at the moment?
Well, I think Mr. Scott's right. We should read the ordinance by title only, and Paul's motion to set the amounts is appropriate within that ordinance.
Michael, you can backstop me here. My thought was that the numbers are an independent motion.
Yeah, my understanding is it could go either way. However, I have no objection to reading the title.
The numbers need to be adopted by ordinance, so having a separate vote on those, I don't.
But
Okay.
I think we're all talking about doing the same thing, just a couple different,
yeah.
unless
It's
Don.
just a formality to read it by title only, and then incorporating the $2,683 for single family and $2,689 multifamily within that ordinance.
Or
Fine.
whatever ends up in there.
Sure.
I remove my objection.
We're going to go ahead and go off the recommended action as stated by the staff report, which puts us at the motion that is on the floor now for stating the amounts and then inserting those in, and then still reading the ordinance by title only with those numbers in there, and then motions to pass, post, and publish. So right now, I've got a live motion on the floor, a live motion and second for $2,683 for single family, $2,689 for multifamily.
Mr. Mayor?
Michael?
Mr. Mayor, I move to divide the question so that we vote on one at a time, because we are dealing with two separate numbers here, and rather than confuse things, a request to divide the motion.
I have no objection.
Okay, we're going to take the single family
Is that a
first.
second? Do we have a second?
As long as you could certainly go ahead and do that.
Second?
We've got a motion and a second to divide the motion. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. So we're going to take the single family first, and let's take the single family first. I'm going to ask you to restate the motion, because right now I have a
Mr.
motion that has both, so.
Mr. Mayor, I move that we set the amount of the impact fee to be collected for the Washougal School District as $2,683 for a single-family home.
Second.
Okay, I've got a motion and a second to set the single-family impact fee for the Washougal School District at $2,683. Council discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. And your multifamily.
Mr. Mayor, I move that we specify the amount of the impact fee to be collected by the Washougal School District per unit for multifamily housing as $2,689.
Second.
I've got a motion and a second to set the multifamily school impact fee for Washougal at $2,689. Council discussion? David?
I think my question is best answered by a district representative, which is why I wanted to catch the representative while she was up there, but apparently that's not the order in which we can conduct business here. The rules are very set, and I yield to those rules. My question is, if we reduce the multi-unit housing fee down to $2,000, how will the district make up the difference between that and the $2,693, I think, or $89 that they're recommending?
Marnie or Don, either one of you? Please.
Would you? Thank you.
Marty Allen responding to the question. It would have to be paid for by bond proceeds or property taxes that the voters would have to approve.
Could you shed some light on that, the property taxes issue or option? How would that take place?
60% of the registered voters in the district would have to approve a bond measure to pay for the cost of the facilities in the plan. And any money, there are 3 funding sources to pay for schools: state matching money, bond proceeds that are collected and paid by voters through property taxes, and then impact fees. So every dollar that isn't, we can't control or request or get more from the state in matching funds. So every dollar that isn't collected in a school impact fee has to be made up for in the bond measure and property taxes that fund the bond.
And do you have a bond measure that you're considering now?
It won't be placed before the voters at this next election, but the district is assessing its needs to get a bond approved to build new schools.
Thank you.
Other council comments, questions?
If I remember correctly, these impact fees account for 10% of the total cost of the improvement that's required by each child on average. That's, if I remember correctly from my notes. So if the fees aren't exactly the same, it doesn't mean that they have to go out for a bond. I think this just means that the amount of money that is required has to be more heavily taken from the bond. It's just, that was one mangled sentence. But anyway, the funding that we're talking about, if I understand correctly, is 10% of the total funding for this, the impact for the children.
Any other council discussion? Okay, I've got a motion and a second to set the multifamily school impact fee rate for the Washougal School District at $2,689. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
No.
Motion carries.
Mr. Mayor, I ask unanimous consent that the city attorney read the ordinance by title only.
Hearing no objection, so ordered.
An ordinance amending ordinance number 1655, section 1, contained in Washougal Municipal Code 15.45.0408, sub A and B, related to assessment of school impact fees for the Washougal School District.
Mr. Mayor, I move that we pass, post, and publish the ordinance in the usual manner.
Second.
Okay, I've got a motion and a second to pass, post, and publish the ordinance in the usual manner. Any final council discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
No.
Motion carries. Okay, moving to public hearings for the Camas School District Capital Facilities Plan, Agenda Bill 144-11. Mitch?
Thank you, Your Honor. A little bit of deja vu here, but for the record. So Agenda Bill 14411 before you is for a plan amendment to 1104-0006 for the adoption of the Camas School District Capital Facility Plan in the City of Washougal Comprehensive Plan. Again, the State Growth Management Act requires public entities to submit CFPs to the municipality. The school board adopts their CFP after a public hearing, and the city council must adopt the school capital facility plan into the city's comprehensive plan. For the record, the dates for CEQA determination was issued by the school district on January 7th, 2011. The capital facility plan and CEQA were adopted by the school district after a public hearing on January 24th, 2011. There was a joint city council and planning commission work session held on April 25th, 2011. The planning commission work session held on July 26th, 2011. A notice of application was issued on August 5th, 2011. And the planning commission had their hearing on August 23rd, 2011. City council held a work session on 28th, 2011, and notice of tonight's hearing was published on November 30th, 2011. The planning commission recommendation to city council was to approve the 2011-2017 Camas School District Capital Facility Plan. Recommended action before you this evening is to hold a public hearing and take testimony. If council desires to make a motion to read the ordinance by title only and pass, post, and publish in the usual manner.
Thank you, Mitch. And with that, I will open the public hearing and ask for any members of the public that wish to comment in regards to Agenda Bill 14411, Camas School District 2011 to 2017 Capital Facilities Plan. Good evening, Heidi.
Good evening. I'm losing it too. Honorable Mayor and council members. Heidi Rosenberg, and I'm the Director of Capital Programs, 841 Northeast 22nd Avenue in Camas. I respectfully request that your approval of the Camas School District Capital Facilities Plan. And I guess I can go ahead with the second, and to collect the single-family and multifamily impact fees that were calculated by our school board, and would just like to for you to honor their input. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Heidi. Are there any other members of the public wishing to comment in regards to the Camas School District Capital Facilities Plan? I'll make a third and final call for any members of the public wishing to comment on Agenda Bill 144-11, a public hearing in regards to the Camas School District 2011-2017 Capital Facilities Plan. Okay, seeing no additional, I will close the public hearing and turn it back to council.
Mr. Mayor, I ask that unanimous consent to read the ordinance by title only.
Hearing no objection, so ordered.
An ordinance amending ordinance number 1652 and adopting an updated Camas School District Capital Facilities Plan.
Mr. Mayor, I move that we pass, post, and publish the ordinance in the usual manner.
Second.
I've got a motion and a second to pass, post, and publish the ordinance in the usual manner. Any council discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Brings us to Agenda Bill 14511, a public hearing and ordinance adoption for the Camas School District impact fee updates. Mitch?
Thank you, Your Honor. Agenda Bill 14511 is also Code Amendment 1104-0007. The State Growth Management Act requires public entities to submit a plan that shows how their capital facility plans will be financed. The school board adopts their recommended school impact fee after a public hearing, and the city must adopt the school's impact fee into the city's code under Chapter 15.45. SEPA determination was issued by the school district on January 7th, 2011. The school impact fee and SEPA were adopted by the district after a public hearing on January 24th, 2011. There was a joint city council and planning commission work session held on April 25th, 2011. And the planning commission work session was held on July 26, 2011. A notice of application was issued on August 5th, 2011, and Planning Commission hearing was held on August 23rd, 2011. City Council held a work session on November 28th, 2011, and notice of tonight's hearing was published on November 30th, 2011. The Planning Commission recommendation for the Camas School District's school impact fees was to amend the Washougal Municipal Code 15.45 with school impact fees to be in the amounts of $4,460 for single-family homes and $2,000 for multifamily homes. Again, the existing single-family and multifamily rate for Camas is $4,000 and $2,000 respectively. The school district's proposal for single-family was $4,460, and for multifamily was $2,604. And the Planning Commission's recommendation was $4,460 for single-family, and keeping it the same as it is today, the $2,000 for multifamily. The recommended action before you this evening for council is to hold the public hearing and take testimony, make a motion specifying the amount of impact fees to be collected for the Camas School District, make a motion to read the ordinance by title only, amending 1545-040, and to pass, post, and publish in the usual manner.
Thank you, Mitch. With that, I will open the public hearing and ask for any members of the public that wish to comment on Agenda Bill 14511, the Camas School District impact fee updates. Morning.
Good evening again, Mayor, members of the council. For the record, Marnie Allen, I'm representing Camas School District, 2500 Northeast 65th Avenue in Vancouver. I'm here to testify in support of the school board's recommendation for increasing the single-family and the multifamily fee. As with the Washougal School District, the Camas School Board, in reviewing their facilities and needs and costs to build the facilities, determined it needed to receive the amount calculated under the formula and recommended by the board. So we just appreciate you considering the school board's recommended amounts. Thank you.
Thank you, Marnie. Are there any other members of the public wishing to speak to Agenda Bill 14511, Camas School District impact fee updates?
I just had a quick question. Why is
Don, if you could give us your name and address, please.
32934 Southeast 20th Street.
Thank you.
I was just wondering, why is Washougal concerned with Camas?
Part of the Camas School District is inside the
Because
western
it's the
boundaries.
same district?
No, part of the Camas School District is inside the boundaries of the city of Washougal.
Do they also then vote on ours or impact fees?
They do not. Well, I don't know. I don't know if part of the Washougal School District is inside the city of Camas. I don't, is it? Okay. Yep.
Thank you.
The lines cross. Somebody had a better plan. We'll trade at some point down the road, maybe. Okay, with that, I will make a third and final call for any members of the public who wish to comment on Agenda Bill 14511, Camas School District impact fee updates. Okay, hearing no additional comments, I will close the public hearing and turn it back to council.
Mr. Mayor, I ask unanimous consent to read the ordinance by title only.
That's fine.
We can make the numbers at the minute.
Do you want to specify an amount then?
As given by the city.
Okay.
As provided by staff.
I'm sorry, I don't understand what that means.
The one that's recommended by the school board, John? Is that?
Oh, I'm sorry, yes, school board, I'm sorry.
That would be two motions in essence.
If I understand that correctly, then your motion is to adopt the school district recommendation, not the planning commission and staff recommendation.
Yes.
Okay?
Yeah.
So I've got a motion and a second to, excuse me, I don't have a motion and a second.
Second.
It was, I'm sorry, it was unanimous
It's a
consent.
unanimous consent.
That's right.
Yeah, I would
So what I have,
I'd like to have a vote on this.
hang on. What I have before us is a request for unanimous consent to have the ordinance read by title only and inserting the fees for the Camas School District impact fees, single-family at $4,460 and multifamily at $2,604. Are there any objections?
Yes, Mr. Mayor, I'd like
So-
to,
So noted. The item will not be by unanimous consent. I am now looking for motions otherwise.
Mr. Mayor, I move that we set the single-family school impact fee for the Camas School District at $4,460.
Second.
I've got a motion and a second to set the Camas School District single-family school impact fees at $4,400. $4,460, excuse me. Council discussion. Okay, those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
No.
Motion carries.
Mr. Mayor, I move that we set the Camas School District school impact fee per unit for multifamily housing at $2,604.
Second.
I've got a motion and a second to set the Camas School District multifamily impact fees at $2,604. Council discussion. Seeing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
No.
Motion carries.
Mayor, do you need a motion to pass, post, and publish?
We're not there yet. We need unanimous consent to read by title only.
Okay.
So moved.
Hearing no objection, so ordered.
An ordinance amending ordinance number 1523, section 2, contained in Washougal Municipal Code 15.45040 and B, related to assessment of school impact fees for the Camas School District.
Mr. Mayor, I move that we pass, post, and publish the ordinance in the usual manner.
Second.
I've got a motion and a second to pass, post, and publish the ordinance in the usual manner. Any council discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
No.
Motion carries. Okay, that takes care of our public hearings, brings us to new business, Agenda Bill 14611, repeal of Washougal Municipal Code 2.44.075, promissory note issuance to secure interment, and Washougal Municipal Code 2.44.077, time payment purchase. Mr. Dunn.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, members of the council. The Cemetery Board recommends that the city repeal Memorial Cemetery Code 2.44.075 for promissory note issuance to secure internment, burial only, and Code 2.44.077 for time payment purchase, lot purchase only. The board has determined that both ordinances have outlived their usefulness and could potentially be a liability for the city. Number one, neither option has been utilized by the cemetery customers in over 6 years. Number two, the city is not a bank or lending institution. Number three, defaulted promissory note transactions could result in gifting of public funds. Number four, lower cost of financing options are available for customers through qualified lending institutions. Number five, promissory notes and payment plans require extensive ongoing monitoring and record keeping by staff. 90 days for a promissory note and 1 year for a payment plan. Recommended actions are to read the title or read the ordinance by title only, repealing WMC 2.44.075 and WMC 2.44.077, and pass, post, and publish in the usual manner.
Mr. Mayor, I ask unanimous consent that we read the ordinance by title only.
Hearing no objection, so ordered.
An ordinance repealing Washougal Municipal Code 2.44.075 and Washougal Municipal Code 2.44.077 related to the sale or purchase of cemetery lots.
Mr. Mayor, this is kind of a sticky issue here. I really want to pass this, but do we have the ordinance in front of, or should I say the resolution in front of us? See the
Sorry,
ordinance?
I did not hand that out. I apologize.
It is missing.
Yeah, I'm sorry I didn't catch that
We
sooner.
can make copies real quickly if you'd like to do that.
How long is it?
It's very short.
Mr. Mayor, I move that we read the ordinance in full rather than making copies.
Do I have a second?
Second, sorry.
I've got a motion and a second to read the ordinance by title only, or
No.
read the ordinance
Read the ordinance.
in full.
Yes.
Any council discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
An ordinance repealing Washougal Municipal Code 2.4.4.075 and Washougal Municipal Code 2.44.077 related to the sale, purchase of cemetery lots. Whereas the cemetery board has met and recommended that the city repeal Washougal Municipal Code 2.44.075 and Washougal Municipal Code 2.44.077 related to promissory note issuance to secure internment and time payment purchase for cemetery lots, and whereas it is position of the cemetery board that the ordinances have outlived their usefulness and could potentially be a liability for the city, and whereas neither option has been utilized by the cemetery customers for the past 6 years, the city is not a bank or lending institution. Default of promissory note transactions could result in a gift of public funds. Lower cost financing options are available for customers through qualified lending institutions, and promissory notes and payment plans require extensive ongoing monitoring and record keeping by staff. Now therefore be it ordained by the City Council of the City of Washougal, Washington as follows. Section 1, that Washougal Municipal Code 2.44.075 and Washougal Municipal Code 2.44.077 are hereby repealed in their entirety. Section 2, this ordinance shall take effect 5 days after its passage and posting according to law.
Mr. Mayor, I move to pass, post, and publish this ordinance in the usual manner.
Second.
I've got a motion and a second to pass, post, and publish the ordinance in the usual manner. Council discussion? Molly?
No, I would just like to take a moment to commend the members of the cemetery board. They've been doing their homework in reviewing code, as well as capital facilities plans. They're a pretty fun-loving group, so I would urge you all to pass this agenda bill tonight.
David?
Ditto, plus congratulations to the staff on the work they've done on this. The cemetery board needs the help of the staff, and it looks like the two of you are working together. Nice going.
Jennifer?
Yes, I completely concur, and I definitely agree with repealing these two particular codes. I find it interesting, and a bit of a snapshot in time as far as when these were put into place. Promissory notes in the 1940s and a payment plan in the 1980s. I just thought that was very interesting.
Any other council discussion, comments? Okay, I've got a motion and a second to pass, post, and publish in the usual manner. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Okay, that brings us to two items. First one, the report of the appointment committee in regards to appointments for the C-Tran board and an alternate to the RTC board. Jennifer, do you want to take that?
Certainly, absolutely. We did meet the current appointments committee, which consists of Councilmember Russell, myself, and Mayor Guard, and we discussed the possible C-Tran appointment due to the fact that I believe there's a retreat coming up, and we want the potential candidate to be in attendance at this retreat and be prepared for what's coming in 2012. And so there was a recommendation to appoint someone who has yet to take office. What is it?
Councilwoman-elect.
Councilwoman-elect, thank you. Connie Jo Freeman was nominated, and I support that nomination, and we will be recommending that to the council.
And we also would like to recommend Jennifer McDaniel to set as the alternate on the RTC board.
Yes, I did agree to that if that pleases the council.
Okay, would you like to put both of those in the form of a motion?
Yes.
So moved.
So moved.
Do we have a second?
Second.
I've got a motion and a second to nominate Connie Jo Freeman to the C-Tran board. This will be for a 3-year term starting January 1, 2012. And Jennifer McDaniel to the RTC board as an alternate to the Camas position, also a 3-year appointment beginning January 1, 2012. Council discussion? Rod?
Mr. Mayor, no disrespect to council, coming councilwoman
Councilwoman-elect.
I just think that she's going to have to keep her hands full with trying to get up and running with everything that goes on at council anyhow. And I would make a nomination of Paul Greenlee to the C-Tran board.
I'm greatly honored. I respectfully decline. But thank you, Rod.
Molly?
Just a comment. I'm sure that Ms. Freeman was, that this issue was discussed with her. And frankly, both RTC and C-Tran are very meaty and dense and take quite a bit of work. So I just want to be assured that Ms. Freeman is going to have the time and kind of the bandwidth, especially C-Tran being new to that, is going to take a little bit of time to get up to speed on that board. So it's not something to be taken lightly.
I completely agree, if you don't mind. Yes, I completely agree, and I would think that it would take a bit of time for pretty much any of us, other than yourself, to get up to speed on because we haven't sat on a C-Tran board in several years. And I'm in full support of Councilwoman-elect Freeman's gumption and her desire to serve. I very much admire her for that.
Mr. Mayor.
John?
Just want to add to that the unique background that she's going to be bringing to this position. Yes, she does not have legislative experience. She has not sat in a legislative body before. However, this being the premier busing and transportation organization in the county, Ms. Freeman does bring 8 years of bus driving experience, both in commercial and in the public schools. She has the same licensing as the C-Tran bus drivers. And what's going to be interesting is she'll be able to bring that perspective to the board, where I don't think any of the other members probably have that background. So it will bring a unique perspective to that.
Mr. Mayor? Just to put it on the record, do we know if Councilwoman-elect Freeman has accepted or is interested in the nomination?
Mr. Mayor, could we just have her stand and give us a nod, yes or no?
Thank you.
Okay, any other council comments? Okay, I've got a motion and a second to appoint Connie Jo Freeman to the C-Tran Board of Directors for a 3-year term, and Jennifer McDaniel to the RTC alternate position for Camas and Washougal for a 3-year term beginning January 1, 2012. All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion carried. And the final item that we have on the agenda are the appointments to the new appointment committee.
Mr. Mayor, I make a motion to reappoint the Appointments Committee to another term,
Second?
as is.
Second?
We've got a motion and a second to reappoint the current appointments committee to another term. Current appointments committee would be council members Russell, McDaniel, and myself. Any council discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Under Mayor's report, I have a number of items. One of them, I believe Councilman Delavar called, left a message for me last week, and I apologize, Michael, I'm not even sure what you were trying to say at the end of it, but I believe you were asking in regards to the bond payoff discussion. And unless memory is failing me, at the time that we passed the budget and spoke on that one, we said we would bring that back for the December 12th workshop to fully vet that, and then also December 19th as a possible action date.
Very good. Yeah, that's what I was wondering. I thought that was coming up sooner. I'm sorry. I didn't realize it would be 12,
No,
but
we-
I appreciate that.
I
Thanks.
think we had actually asked for that period of time and put those dates into the record so that we had enough time to vet all the information and any of the questions that you may have.
Thank you.
A couple of quick reminders on date items. Stuff the Bus activities are this Friday evening, now moved to 6:30 for the weigh-in, because they have decided to also take part in the Christmas parade, the lighted Christmas parade on Friday evening at 6 o'clock in the evening. So this is a reminder for the Christmas parade and tree lighting as well. The parade is set to start at 6 o'clock in the evening. If there are council members that would like to ride on one of the city vehicles, if you could make sure and let us know in advance of that so we have a proper-sized vehicle ready to go. I believe we've got a number of staff that are working on different parts and pieces of the of Friday's festivities, just to kind of pass it around. But we've got cookies coming, we've got coffee, we've got hot chocolate coming. Mrs. Curry has graciously agreed to play some music and lead us in some carols before and after the ceremony as well, and as part of that whole thing. So a number of different things taking place on Friday evening, and then on Saturday is the Friday and Saturday both are the second annual Festival of Trees downtown as well. And then a final item, just a note for your calendars, it appears we are targeting January 7th, Saturday, January 7th, for the planning retreat for 2012. We're trying to firm that up. Unfortunately, somewhere along the way, the calendar makers this year put the Martin Luther King holiday onto the weekend of the 14th. So that kind of, to some degree, bumps our normal dates out there. And looking at what we know so far to be vacation and out-of-town plans for a number of people back and forth all around that, we kept coming into the date of January 7th as potentially the least conflicted date. So I would pencil that in. I wouldn't pen it in yet. And we will try and let you know as soon as we can of the firming up of that date.
Mr. Mayor, if it would be helpful if there's any conflict for any members of the council. We've heard from almost all of you. If you could let us know if the 7th works, that would be greatly appreciated as soon as possible.
I'm looking at the school calendar right now.
And for any council members elect as well. So if you've got any dates that are in conflict, typically we're looking at a Saturday. I believe we're looking at a Saturday still this year and not having to go into Friday evening if possible, so.
Mr. Mayor, did we fly over public comments?
I'm sorry?
Did we fly over public comments?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
I'll go back to them. We did. And that is all that I have for mayor's report. So with that, we'll go back to public comments. Any members of the public wishing to address council? Yes, Barbara.
Barbara Curry, 303 Love Street. I just want to thank the mayor and council for the opportunity to play Friday night. I want to encourage people to come out, and we're going to sing and have a good time. I put in my request ahead of time for great weather, and I think somebody listened.
Don't jinx us, Barbara. Do not jinx us.
It's going to be chilly, but it's going to be dry, and we're going to have a good time, and I just wanted to thank you for that opportunity.
Barbara, you are going to be one of the warmest people there, because I put out a call to staff members who might have heater units that we could put inside those tents for you.
My goodness.
Ooh. You can tell where I plan to be. Any other members of the public that wish to address council? Okay, with that, we will go back to any council comments. Seeing none?
Mayor.
Yes.
I
Rod?
noticed that there's an opening on the Civil Service Board. What happened on that one? on that. So why is there an open position?
We had, I believe a week and a half ago, a resignation from Harvey Olson from his seat on the Civil Service Board. So, good reminder as well, we do have an opening on the Civil Service Commission. I believe the deadline for applications for that position are Friday, December 23rd. Any other items from council?
Mr. Mayor, I move we adjourn.
Prior to doing that, we're going to go into an executive
Oh, that's
session, so I
right.
won't let you make that
Any
motion,
action to
sorry.
follow?
There is no action to follow. We are likely to be a half hour in the first swing,
Can we do it here?
potentially.
No action.
Where would you rather do it? Okay. With that, we're going to ask all of the public and department heads, with the exception of Mrs. Cefalo, to exit the room. I'm sorry, and Chief Schumacher, if you would stay as well. And I'm sorry, Mr. Dunn. Yes, you too. So sorry.
Oh, the leg.
Association of Washington Cities Board, and that is a lot of time. The other thing that I want to do is.
Well, we always have a way out.
But Sean, wasn't there,